All right, surprise interview here with one of my favorite people in all of Strongman, good friend of mine, Taylor Gohn. Thanks for joining me, Taylor.
Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good, good. We just finished up kind of a live broadcast. I was hoping you'd walk in. Of course, I've been running into you now like everywhere in the United States.
Yeah.
Because you travel everywhere.
Sorry.
It's soft spoken. Yeah, you travel everywhere because you're a coach as well as a strongman.
Yeah.
But let's talk about strongman stuff real quick because last I checked, you were going 105.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah.
How'd that go down? What was the thought process? Because you and I disconnected for about 8 months or 2 months when I went dark.
So my thinking on it was like if I could hang out around 240, 245 around the time it was supposed to time to make weight, like hit that water cut, we'd be fine. I was able to get down. I think I did it too early. I got down to like 245 as my lowest, and that was like in November, and I was supposed to make weight in like, what was that, April?
Yes.
Late April?
Yeah.
So I got there, and my strength was just decreasing so fast just from trying to hold that weight, and I couldn't hold it. It was miserable. I was passing out under numbers that were like 80% and under.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Well, how tall are you?
Like 6'3".
Yes. So that's
I was coming down from like 315.
Yeah, that was a big jump. I mean, you're challenging yourself because you're that guy anyhow. So you
wanted
took
to
that
at least give
on.
it a shot.
Right. Yeah. Certainly you got close and closer than I thought.
Tell you what,
I mean,
I wanted a piece of Clayton. That's what I wanted. I wanted a piece of Cambion. I wanted a piece of Clayton.
yeah.
Wanted a piece of Isaac, but just couldn't make that weight.
Yeah, I think there's that sense of competition, right? Guys chase
Yeah.
in weight classes nowadays. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
I like guys
especially
coming
in the
up and
105
down.
class. They're the guys that are kind of like
Yeah.
have that camaraderie of wanting to get after one another.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a part of that a little bit.
Yeah, you don't see that a lot in other classes, do you?
No.
You really don't. Those guys
That's
really
the one where they're after each other.
They certainly are, yeah.
And
I'll drink a beer with you after the show, but we're
I'm
gonna
fucking here to kill you.
I'm
Yeah.
going after you for
Yeah.
sure.
And I want a part of that because that's fun. And you know what? I'm like, that's part of the reason why I came up with this because I want to make that with Jake and
Oh, you
Erdsman
got it, man.
brothers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I love all them. We'll be drinking beers. But
Those guys are
we're all
characters as well.
coming
Yeah.
for each other's throats this weekend.
Honestly, I think what excites me most about that lineup, because I always say it, I always say this about you. You know how I describe you, was one of the more eccentric characters in the sport. Colorful characters, right?
Yeah.
Our sport is loaded with them. You are that guy for sure. Jake's that guy for
Yes,
sure.
he is.
The Erdmans, I mean, all these guys are like, this is maybe
big
one
old
of the most
goofballs.
fucked up lineups I've ever
Yeah.
seen of strong, fucked up individuals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you saw Jake Webb's post last night with
Oh my
nipples
God, dude.
pierced. And
Seriously. I mean,
that one confused me a little bit.
I mean, he is confused you. Oh fuck, yeah! I tell you, that's the beauty about Jake Webb. We were just talking about him. George and I were a little bit earlier. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? He's always here giving. Oh yeah, this is your phone, I think. Yeah, there you go, George, making a comeback here. Yeah, he's one of those guys that's been up here for about 3 years, putting the screws to Jake Harmon, or at least trying to. Matt Kehoe was another guy last year, another big up and comer, and now this year this stuff has just gone international. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, now you guys are coming out of the woodwork. All these super heavyweights are. What was the motivator besides the camaraderie? Did the money get you a little bit? Was it? I mean, because you know that bounty is out there still. Did you know that?
What's that?
$1,500.
Yeah. No, I know that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was because of Jake and Jake.
Yeah.
I haven't beat them yet.
Yeah.
And those are guys that I started with when I was real early on. And I remember getting spanked by Harmon one day at Motor City. And I took second, he took first, but it was like, it wasn't close.
Yeah.
And I always just wanted to come back and whoop his ass. And
Yeah, they're probably pretty excited to see you.
Also, they're just really good guys to compete with, you know?
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun watching that tomorrow. I know, Jake has certainly had a good year. He won nationals. I'm still trying to figure out how that point system works, how you take second in one class, but you win overall. Again, not
I
being
don't know.
controversial, because he's the guy in my book anyhow that needs to be where he's at. But
Yeah.
in any case, he took his pro card, I guess. I don't know how that works. I'm indifferent when it comes to that pro status stuff. But
I don't know. I'm not familiar with how that's being ran for USS. I don't know what qualifies you to be a pro.
My segue to that would be: does that concern you? Is that something that you also want to kind of? Where's your thought process on the pro status and these things?
As far as my personal goals,
Yeah. I mean,
I would like to win my Strongman Corporation Pro card.
Okay.
Because that's just from the time I started, that was the thing to do, and so, by the time I win that, it'll be at least 10 years of that's kind of been the thing
right.
driving me.
Yeah.
And then also I've always wanted the right to go to ASM when I can and compete there.
So the pathways
that
with
to
that
me
particular
is
thing.
that to me is like the top end. Like obviously World's Strongest Man and the Arnold is the top end, but just for me and what I've always kind of thought is a realistic thing to shoot for that's sustainable. ASM has always just been very appealing to me in the pro card status.
Yeah.
I would not sit there and say like, oh, there's a ton of benefits for one way or the other. I think both are respectable, both are cool. I think the USS is really showing out. They're the ones that are growing and putting the work in to make a bigger and brighter future for this federation. And I like seeing the sport grow, so I'm going to participate in good shows, no matter what federation.
Right. No particular loyalty or tribalism. It really is just about competition and who you're competing with.
One thing that pisses me off a lot is there's a lot of people in this sport that bitch about the lack of opportunities and pathways to this, that, and the other thing, and it's like you guys are the same people that are bitching and moaning about shows not paying enough, and this federation said this thing and stupid shit that's like you have plenty of opportunities for yourself to go compete and have a good time in the sport,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And if you want it bad enough, you're going to find it and go get it.
Yeah.
I think it's an easy excuse for a lot of guys not to compete, actually.
Yeah.
Because you can chase the competition. And
Yeah.
I appreciate guys that chase competition, certainly in the super heavyweight class.
Yeah.
I mean, that open class, to me, we need to give a lot more love to these big guys.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we get enough of it. And for good reason, right? Because it seems like the top end of the sport, that 1% of 1%, gets all that attention in that particular class.
Yeah, there should be, I think, and I think this is coming because we're trying to stimulate growth from multiple levels of the sport, right? So eventually, if we keep adding to this not really beginner, but between beginner and pro, right? That's going to develop eventually the between start of pro and Trey and Bobby
Right.
status,
Yes.
right? The
Right.
end goal of pro. There's this huge middle ground that really needs development as well, and I think opportunities need to be made for those guys as well. 231s is two, but
Yeah. I mean, they certainly have gotten above that, though.
yes,
They've grown quicker.
It's growing.
Yeah.
It is growing, but there does seem so. One thing that Josh Hatfield talks about a lot, and he's one of the OG Strongman Corporation pros, is that the only pathway for an American, the only pathway to the pro Arnold stage is winning the amateur Arnold.
Right.
But if you take your pro card, you get to compete in that one time, and if you don't win it, you're done. So we're not actually sending our best, most mature guys to the Arnold pro stage.
Right.
There's guys that have been pros for years that can't get back into the Arnold circuit because, well, they're not an amateur. You see what I mean? It kind of cuts them off.
It's discouraging because
And
then you see a lot of guys.
we're sending like the freshmen into the pro Arnold
Right.
if they win.
Yeah.
But really, we need to have these seasoned guys that are taking top 10 at OSG. They need to have the ability to go back year after year and contend for the Arnold. That's only going to put better guys up, and it's only going to force our younger guys, our newer pros, to get better.
Yeah, there is sort of that there's this black hole in the middle there. There's how do you get around it? How do you make it happen? And I guess the only way to do that is just to produce more or better quality shows or bigger shows, right?
Yeah,
I mean, how do you solve the problem?
It's got to come from every level. And it's happening. Like you have to have the people like James, who's doing bending over backwards for Strongman Corporation, putting everything on. Guy, I forgot what's his name, George.
George, yeah.
George, and the Aaron Wests of the communities and guys like you who are doing this. The growth has to come from every pathway that we can find, and that even comes from me as a coach wanting to piss pound other coaches and their athletes and training my guys and being a competitive coach,
Right,
and
right.
being a competitor myself as long as I can and pushing that,
Right.
pushing guys like Jake and Jake and Erdsmans and then trying to push guys like Josh and trying to get him better, even though he can stomp me any day of the week. You know what I mean? So there's just so many pathways that you can grow the sport.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And there's no one answer, but I think it's happening. I think a lot of it needs to be let's stop asking that question. Let's all put our head down and do our part.
That's right. Yeah,
You know?
because it all come together
Yeah.
as a result of the work that's being put in.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. And we've had that conversation many a times, off camera. I understand you're involved in some sort of promotion. Am I hearing through the grapevine that you've got some hand in some promotion coming down the pike? Or maybe I got that wrong. I should have asked you off camera.
What is it?
I thought it was something with the world's or the strongest state stuff or something.
Oh, yeah. I'm as of right now still going to be captain for Team Michigan.
Okay,
but
all right, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
really know what's going on or how that's going to work.
Okay, that's what it was. I heard something that you were involved or something like that.
Yeah, as of right now, I'm involved, but I don't really know. I don't have too many answers on.
Yeah,
how
it's kind of new, I guess,
is,
where
yeah.
it's coming out 2024 or something. They're talking
Yeah.
about doing it. Interesting though, when I kind of just caught a little wind of it, that's
cool.
a great idea.
It would definitely be a good example of like if we want to make that show come together and happen the right way.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have to pull together and make it happen. You know what I mean?
Well, again, it's another opportunity to make the sport more visible. But I know you remember this because you've been in the sport long enough. There used to be a lot of competition between state lines. Ohio, Michigan was a big one for years.
Yeah, I remember one of my favorite things was like going down to Illinois and competing against those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was like where you would kind of find guys where it was like, okay, if I keep going to the Motor City, I keep seeing the same Jake and the same Jake. And Erdsmans were still too young to push me on anything or even be around, So, like going down there, I remember like seeing guys from Poland who would come over and just different guys that would give you different feels and different challenges on events and stuff.
Well, it certainly holds you accountable to getting better because you got to get out to kind of see the world, see the competition, find how good you really are. Big fish, small pond mentality, but certainly not take anything away from the state of Michigan for sure because we've cultivated some pretty damn good strongmen over the years. Seems the 231s have been more beneficial from that in the last 20, but you can take guys like Jake and yourself now and the Erdsmans and like I say, I'll reference Matt Kehoe and Jake Webb again and others that there's a pretty good field of super heavyweights in this state.
Yeah, and the only other state that's really impressed me that much with the number of heavyweights is Washington and Texas.
Yeah, Texas for sure, yeah.
Texas is just like, because it's so big, there's just so many guys.
It's a country in itself of strongmen down there,
Yeah, and then Pacific Northwest kind of has what Michigan has, where we're kind of hidden in our own little hub, just competing against one another.
Yep.
But I would say I think it's more dense.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
more
for
of it
sure.
going on.
Yeah, I envy a lot of the guys. Of course, you're still living down there, right? For last I checked.
Yeah, I'm in Dallas.
Yeah, still in Dallas. Yeah, so being a part of that scene now, I mean, you're just knee deep in strongman essentially.
It's cool, yeah.
How's the training going, by the way? How's your business?
It's great. Yeah. I just recently, after Rainier, took on Zach McCarley as my coach.
Oh yeah, I saw that actually. Yeah.
That's been just like
the scientist Zach
so
McCarley.
helpful to like I can enjoy my preps. I can put more into my athletes, and I never even like occurred to me. I always knew it was challenging.
Yeah.
Coaching myself at the same time. I always knew like, okay, every time you do a prep, like it's going to take away a little bit.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how much like it's night and day difference. Like I don't even have an issue with it anymore.
You hear that from a lot of coaches, right? When they
Yeah.
finally make that commitment to have somebody else coach them,
Yeah.
it really is. It's like, oh my God, this is like beautiful. I don't have to think about anything.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much I was putting into
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that story told more than once. But so, what do you think of the backdrop out here, man? Give me your take for the first time being up here. We had a brief conversation before we got on camera, but what can you say? I mean, we're not even set up yet. But is this not the best?
This is
venue?
beautiful, and all I have to say is, so I've been spending this whole week camping out in northern Michigan, enjoying it all, and you know how much traveling I've been doing, and all I want to do is come back here and hang out more because this is the best.
It really is, man. And I know I was joking with Taylor, and I mentioned on the prior to the broadcast for all you guys out there, I run into you everywhere around the United States, and you travel more than I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw you in South Carolina, I saw you in Columbus, of course, more recently, and obviously up here, and geez, I'd probably run into you everywhere else as well. I mean, do you generally travel with all your clients? I mean, what's that side of it for you? I mean, what do you just try to get to competitions to watch them with your clients? I mean, how are you participating?
It's networking one. It's really good for my business.
Right.
You know,
With that, I get
the
for
more
sure.
I do for the big ones, but that's where my guys are competing at these.
Yeah.
I've got guys in all the big shows, and so I'm going to go to the big ones because
Right.
You got to get out there and coach.
Well, you're one of the few guys that actually do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that you don't see a lot of coaches traveling with their teams like you do, but you make a commitment to do that. Like I said, I see you everywhere.
Well, to me, it's obvious. It's like if you're going to call there's a lot of motherfuckers in this industry that do not have the right to call themselves a coach.
Yeah.
By far.
Well, we know that. That's a fact.
And I mean, this is obvious to me. You got to be out there coaching.
Take last in your first novice show, and then all of a sudden you're a strongman coach. We know that.
Well, or at least just
go ahead.
The things that are just so obvious to me of show up to the meets, coach, think of more effective ways to communicate. Like your part in this equation is equal, if not more, to the effort that the athlete is
100%. Yeah.
But you don't get to take credit for it like that.
Right.
So know your place. Do your part.
Right. That's right. Yeah. It takes a bit more of an introvert.
Yes.
Example right here.
Yeah.
More of the eccentric introverted guys that I know. Keep to yourself. Stay in your lane. Know what you're good at. Yeah, all those things, certainly. You staying up in Traverse City, though, for the next couple of days, right?
Yeah, I'll be here probably till Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hang out with you tomorrow.
Drunk.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a fun night.
Hammered.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. That makes for good podcast fodder, everybody, kind of behind the scenes. Yeah. Well, hey, man, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks,
so
brother.
good to see you, bro. One of my best friends in the sport, and always a pleasure running into you. So we'll hang out tomorrow and get some rest tonight, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.